everybody, and welcome to Bottom Line with Roni and Byron. We got some great news to get to you today. Just want to catch you up for the week. We're going to start with the Florida bill that will allow cameras in the classroom.
And in national news, we're going to talk about how U.S. and Russia agree to keep talking after the meeting on Ukraine.
And then we'll switch to sports and talk about the Blountstown weightlifting girls team that won district champs.
And in entertainment, we'll talk about how stand-up comic and actor Louis Anderson, Emmy winner, basket star, dies at 68.
And then we'll switch to our relationship tea segment, and we're going to do a Did You Know? We're going to inform school-age parents on the COVID-19 protocols as it relates to school. So, Byron, we're going to go ahead and get to it and start with this Florida bill that will allow cameras in the classroom. And the purpose of this is to record the teachers and the students if any incident may happen. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm not big on cameras, so I understand. It's twofold though, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. So when things happen, you've got that footage to help protect teachers and also protect students if something wrong happens and things of that such. In a lot of these schools, when these fights and even in situations where you have bad actors do things, in so many instances it goes down to he said, she said. In a lot of instances, children that come from backgrounds that they're not the popular person, or things of that such, the benefit of the doubt doesn't always go their way. So I like that concept, but I'm torn between the two on that one, Ronnie, to be honest with you. As a teacher, as a person that I can understand if a teacher wouldn't want it. As a person working in environments where cameras are recording all the time, I'm not really big on. I don't like it because sometimes context is something else. Right. So and teachers, a lot of teachers are very hands-on. They're very they try to do things in fun ways and things like that. And a lot of times things can get taken out of context as well. So I don't know.
Well, it's House Bill 1055 that's being proposed. It's being sponsored by Representative Bob Romel. He's a Republican from Naples, and Representative Mike Beltran. He's actually from Lithia. So, like I said, they're trying to see if they can get this bill passed to basically help into situations. But there are a couple other things that attach to this, Byron. Not only will the teachers wear the microphones or the cameras, but the principal will be the one that's overseeing the recording. So it won't be live streamed or won't be used for teachers' evaluations, nothing public. Like that. Okay. Yeah. So it'll just be strictly for recording what's going on in the classroom in case something happens.
Well, that's good. I know most schools they do have.
If something happens, it says that the parents will have access to the recordings within 1 week. That's what the bill is proposing.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. Now, and at the same time, I know schools have, recordings, say hallways and school buses, but this is specifically the classroom.
In the classroom, correct? Yeah. So we'll have to watch and see if that bill goes through. But right now, it's in the proposed stage, and like I said, if anything happens, they can use it to get to the bottom of things. And then they say they'll keep the recording on file for like 3 months or until the investigation is finished, and then they'll destroy it. So we'll see. But that's going to be interesting. So then I want to go ahead and move on to another bill. Now, this bill, Byron, actually passed in the House. Now, this will strip the school board members of their salaries. So this bill is being proposed by State Representative Sam Garrison, who's from Fleming Island. Yeah.
Can you say that? Can you say that again one more time?
He's proposing. This bill is being, matter of fact, it has been approved in the House and Education Committee. It was approved on Thursday. So of course, it has to move through the channels, but it will strip school board members of their salaries. And right now, salaries range from $27,000 to $47,000, depends on what county you're in. So that's going to be pretty interesting. What do you think about that?
So, one quick question, and then this representative that proposed the bill, is that he's a Republican or Democrat?
He is
Do
a
you know?
Republican.
Okay, so two things. I understand his intent, and I've had a lot of conversations about this. Even with my father, we talk about how he would tell me, back in the day when he came up, politicians didn't matter, U.S. senators, U.S. congressmen, they didn't make a lot of money. They didn't have a lot of way, and it was based on, on an integrity thing, doing things, public servant work because you wanted to. It wasn't for the money. And then somewhere along the lines, elitist, elite class, people that normally would go and be doctors and lawyers all of a sudden want to be, politicians, and then the pay and all of the kickbacks, et cetera, et cetera. So I get the intent is to kind of bring it back to a true, public service, integrity type of thing. But nobody's gonna work for free.
That's
We've all been in those interviews, and we've all had to answer those questions, why we wanted the job, and we told those fibs that it wasn't about the money. We're not gonna do anything for free. Let's be honest. And nobody expects politicians to make ungodly amounts, of money, but still, people need to get paid. So I'm not too keen on it. But the point is, the Florida House and the Florida Senate is dominated by the Republican Party. So if if it's proposed by a Republican and it goes through, it has a very good chance of going all the way through. So I'd keep eyes on that one for
yeah.
those school board representatives out there across the state. And he may be coming from a place from these bigger districts where they school board members, maybe their salary may take so much chunk out of the district funding that he's proposing that bill. But yeah, it's that's gonna be quite the thing to see how it turns out.
Well, it says that of course the I'm going to correct myself. The bill has been approved by the House Education and Employment Committee. So that's a committee within the House. So that was approved on Thursday, 13 to 7. And then, of course, it has to continue on to the rest of the committees in the House. So, but again, there is something attached to this, Byron. It's saying that the extra money would be used to increase oversight of what books end up on the shelves in school. So that's a part of it. Yeah, that's what they want to use extra money for. And then, surprisingly, I didn't know this, but it says according to the 2018 National School Board Association study, it says 61% of school board members nationwide are volunteers. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I thought all of them were paid. But like you said, Byron, I don't think you'll get, a lot of people volunteering to be school board members if they take the salary away. I just can't see that. But also it says that the bill would require school districts to hire media specialists who would have to sign off on any book or a piece of material in a school library or classroom booklet. So there are some other pieces to this, Byron. It's more control. It seems like what materials are coming into the classroom.
Yeah, well, what they're doing is they're trying to double down on the critical race theory. Right. Kind of I'm losing the choice of words, but just hoopla that has been going on for the past couple of years. But to go back on your point about the being paid, Florida is a bit different. I didn't know that, as far as national data, I didn't know that, but Florida's a bit different because the way Florida's structured, school boards in our counties throughout Florida pretty much have the power. In other states and other areas, it's kind of different. Superintendents have more, kind of power as to what happens in those school districts. School boards in Florida, they have more power. It kind of trickles down from school board. Superintendent is a advisory position to the school board. Kind of in the same facet as the county administrator to the board of county commissioners. And then, in school and in superintendent controls, principals, hire, fire principals, teachers, etc. But in Florida, it's a little different. So hence why you will understand why they would be paid, because their, duties and responsibilities would be a little more, extensive than other states may be. Now, when it comes to the bills of trying to control what books come in, I think that's along the lines that where they're going, and that kind of goes back to my struggles and fights to push for that, American History 2.0 initiative, because we're not, in that curriculum, this is not based on dialogue or dialect and talking about history in that fashion. What I'm proposing is facts, the history that never was integrated in the school systems, and the history that so many of us don't find out until we're in our mid-30s, or we're somewhere in a postgraduate situation, if someone was blessed to be able to get to that point. Our children, no matter black or white, they should know who's fighting death kicked off the American Revolution. Because it was a black person, that's great, but every American should know it. Every American child should know, especially in Southeast part of America, in Florida, Georgia, and Alabama, that the person that saved this whole area with a crop of peanuts, George Washington Carver, every American should know that. So
this bill, basically, like you said, is kind of tying other things in it to kind of control what's getting into the classroom.
That's what they call pork, when they throw extra stuff in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll keep watching it. The Florida School Board Association did not speak at Thursday's hearing. They did not, but they did make it known that they think people need to be paid for managing millions and billions of dollars in budgets. So
yeah, that's kind of weird coming off of the stem of the COVID pandemic, and as much as these school districts had to deal with, that's kind of odd that they would.
Yeah. So we'll keep watching it, but now it's headed to the House Appropriations Committee. And so we'll keep an eye on that. Okay. All right, we'll move on. I want to mention that most people have heard by now that you can get free COVID-19 test kits in the mail if you go and sign up. You can sign up at it's covidtest.gov. So www.covidtest.gov. And I've done it. You just fill out the information. It just asks for your name, your course, your email address, and then your address where you want it shipped to. And you will get 4 per household, and it will be shipped to you. I think it starts the end of January. So if you're interested in that, make sure you go to the website, sign up, and get your household these kits. I think the results are back in like 30 minutes. So again, go to www.covidtest.gov and get your free COVID-19 test kits. And then, Byron, I want to mention that there are some scams going on. But before I do that, I want to mention that this local and state news is brought to you by Brightway Insurance. Brightway Insurance can fulfill all your insurance needs, whether it's property, business, life insurance, anything you need. Contact T.D. Horn and his staff at 850-633-3460. They're located in Marianna off of Caledonia Street. And again, their phone number is 850-633-3460. Now, I want to make sure we know there's some scams going on. There's some scams going on. Unfortunately, it happens. But right now, there's one going on regarding law enforcement. So they're sending out text messages and is asking you to order different apparel. All of the law enforcement pretty much have said they are not associated with any agency that's doing this. So if you get this text on your phone, know that it's a scam. Don't try to order any type of apparel or anything from anybody sending you something via text from law enforcement. That's a scam. And then the other scam is there's a scam going on that people are coming to your home and saying that they're giving away masks. And apparently when they ask you to try it on, there's something within the mask that knocks you out. And of course, things happen. So make sure you don't open your door to anybody that says they're selling masks. Don't do it. It's a scam. Okay. All right. Again, local and state news is brought to you by Brightway Insurance. Please contact T.D. Horn and his staff at 850-633-3460 and get all of your insurance need from them. They can fulfill anything that you need. Byron, I think that's all I have for local and state news. What do you have for national?
Okay, so for national news, before I jump right into it, I want to talk about People's Funeral Home. Because we care, we are here when you need us. Long Granbury Funeral Services Incorporated, doing business as People's Funeral Home, Mariana and Battle Mortuary, Panama City, offers services that is within the reach of all. Their services are designed to commemorate the life being remembered at a price suitable for all. So please give Cephas and Gwen a call at 850-482-2233. That's 850-482-2233, or simply stop by for more information. That's People's Funeral Home. In my first story, the U.S. and Russia agreed to keep talking after meeting on Ukraine. So things are starting to heat up. This typically happens every time we get a new president in. Russia and the U.S. We've never been on good terms. We're enemies. So to see what the next leader is going to do, the history behind Ukraine and Russia stems all the way back to the Soviet Union. So today, Geneva, the top U.S. and Russian diplomats made no major breakthrough at talks on Ukraine on Friday, but agreed to keep talking to try to resolve a crisis that has stoked fear on military conflict. So people like myself, we have to keep eyes on situations like these, because you never know in the next couple of days, those reservists out there, National Guardsmen and women, may get that call. So it just gets me back to the mindset that for the past 20 years, the training and all of the preparation that we've been dealing with, it's been in a desert environment. The Marine Corps got rid of its tanks the last one of their tanks in the entire United States Marine Corps. And so now, if this fight turns back to Russia, we're gonna have to reach back to those old Vietnam and World War II vets just for training. You know, that type of enemy combatant is coming back around. So anyway, to get back to the story, talks, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken warned a swift, severe response if Russia invades Ukraine after massing troops near the border. So it looks like they're piling up, but Russian Foreign Minister said Moscow was still waiting for a written response to its demands for security guarantees. So right now they're back and forth, but it looks like Russia is setting up to do something. And it kind of reminds me of Saddam Hussein right before he invaded Kuwait, but we never know. U.S. will try to utilize allied forces before an all-out war goes on, and they'll still try to use sanctions and things like that. But looks like Putin is at it again, testing those waters to see what U.S. will
Think
do.
he's testing Biden?
Oh yeah, he's definitely testing, because remind you, they had a meeting about a month back, and they had about 2 meetings, and he's testing those waters. So we'll see
We'll
what
keep
happens.
watching it.
Yeah. So in my next story, an international flight turns around after a passenger refuses to wear a mask. First class passenger refused to wear a mask, disrupted a London-bound American airline flight this past Wednesday night, and prompted the pilot to turn around back to Miami so the customer could be booted off the aircraft. Now, me personally, it goes back to that previous story that you gave, Ronnie, when we was talking about a guy that had the underwear on his face, as a mask. It's like, it's got to be, did he have TSA already? There was some kind of way to have one TSA person on a plane or something. When people go back to crazy, now you got a whole crew of people that had to turn around, because going to London from Miami, you got to turn around and go back just for one person.
So did he get on the plane with the mask, or did he take it off? What?
It says the flight. Okay, it says the flight departed Miami 7:40. About an hour, pilot decided to turn around and head back. So I'm assuming the flight ultimately canceled. The passengers needed to rebook. Flight landed. So yeah, he had to have a mask to get on.
Right, to get on the plane. They wouldn't have let him on without it. So I'm just saying, I guess once he got on the plane and they got in midair, he decided that he's not going to wear it and caused the.
Oh, and as you were, it was a female, it was a woman.
Oh, it was a woman. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the passenger had explained she sat behind us in first class. She's a first class passenger, extremely abusive to the stewards. Flying home London, I could see they said I could see the writing on the wall. They gave her a lot of warnings. So we were kind of ready for it, and boom, she complained about each mask they tried to provide her, and she just went at right.
Just didn't want to
So
wear it. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So makes no sense at all. But she
Yeah.
had to got on them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how she got on with a mask. So
yeah.
yeah,
So,
unfortunately those situations happens, and I don't know what the answer is, because if you're midair and you're, an hour away from your, departure city, it's kind of like you're delaying everybody else to, I see what you're saying, to turn around and take her back.
yeah.
But you
And
got to set some type of precedent, like, this is what's going to happen if you do that. I mean, you can't
and
push him out with a parachute. You can't, you
I yeah, one of those Indiana Jones moments,
yeah,
I wish it
yeah,
could. But yeah, that and then another thing we have to consider as well, Ronnie, is some people they're gonna do things just for the attention, just to do it. That's even when it comes to the peaceful protest, right? You'll have the majority of the group are there with the intent to protest, but you'll always have that one group of that 4 or 5 people that want to come just to tear stuff up and just to create havoc or loot or whatever. So in this instance, you got somebody that she had what was the real intent of that? You're gonna get on the plane and act the fool, and that stops the whole. You never got what you wanted to get. You just the intent you wanted to was create a whole bunch of mess and hysteria, and your
yeah.
point was
It was
never made.
intentional. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
So
yeah.
yeah, so that's that. So my last story, just had me thinking a little bit. Had brought me back to that Armageddon movie. An asteroid was flying by Earth. This was past Tuesday. So, and you could have watched it live, but this was the closest massive asteroid that flew, past Earth. The asteroid was named asteroid 1994 PC1. And this was the closest approach, as I said before, toward Earth for the next 200 years. It soared a little over 1 million miles away from Earth. So, which is, kind of scary. If people remember the whole point of atomic bombs and all the big bombs that scientists across the globe have created was to divert, huge asteroids from hitting Earth. But yeah, you could have it was past Tuesday, and certain places across in the world could have been able to see that asteroid actually pass by. It's the closest that came less than 700,000 miles from the planet on January 17th, 1933. So that was the last time an asteroid came that close. It was pretty cool. So
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that is national for me. But before I step away from this segment, I want to talk about People's Funeral Home again, because we care. We're here when you need us. Long Granbury Funeral Services Incorporated, doing business as People's Funeral Home, Mariana and Battle Mortuary, Panama City, offers services that is within the reach of all. Their caring staff is available 24/7 or when the need arises. Their services are designed to commemorate the life being remembered at a price suitable for all. So please give Cephas and Gwen a call at 850-482-2233. Once again, that's 850-482-2233, or simply stop by for more information. It's People's Funeral Home.
All right, we'll switch to our sports segment. We want to congratulate the Blountstown Girls weightlifting team. They won district this past Wednesday. They scored 53. Wewa scored 43, and then Mariana scored 39. So congratulations to the Blountstown women's weightlifting team. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Then I want to switch to, we have some upcoming games that people are really interested in. The first one is a high school basketball game, which is Tuesday. And I know you'll be probably attending this one. It's Mariana Malone. Mariana Malone plays on Tuesday. The JV plays at 5:30 and the varsity plays at 7:30. And that game is in Mariana. So I know that's a big rivalry game. And I'm sure the gymnasium will be packed. Will you be
Yeah,
going?
I'm gonna try to make it. Last time I got there, an hour ahead, and it was too much, too big, no seats left. So I'm gonna try to get there 2 hours. As soon as the kids get out of school, we'll just sit there and wait till people show up. So yeah, I'll be there. I'm torn because I got both friends coaching, and yeah, so
Okay.
but good, long as it's a good game,
Could be a
I'm
good game.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People really want to see that game on the Christmas holiday. There was a chance,
yeah,
but that didn't happen. So, of course, the first time that they met in Malone, and Malone did win that matchup. Again, Marion and Malone will play on Tuesday. JV starts at 5:30. Varsity starts at 7:30 in Malone. And then Chipola basketball, they are inviting people out to come out tonight, actually, Saturday night. One of their former coaches is going to be there named Greg Hare. He used to coach the Indians. Now I think he coaches the Northwest Florida State College team. So the ladies will play at 5:30 and the men will play at 7:30. That's Chipola Indians tonight at 5:30, the ladies, and 7:30, the men. They will be playing Northwest Florida State College, coached by their former Chipola College coach, Greg Hare. So make sure you've got a chance to check that out tonight. And then I want to switch to some NFL. I don't know if you've seen this, Byron, but Champ Kelly, who is a Graceville High School graduate, he's being considered for the GM for the Chicago Bears. He's one of the
well,
candidates. He's interviewed, he's interviewed there, and he's interviewed with the Raiders as well. So hometown guy. He's been with the Bears already in various positions. Assistant director of player personnel and just various positions. So, but he is from Graceville, graduated from Graceville High School, and he is being considered for the GM position for the Chicago Bears. So we wish him all the best. He does those camps here too. He did some in Graceville, and I think the last few he did was in Panama City.
yeah.
But he
Yeah, that's a big move.
yeah.
GM is the next step for them to the owner. That's a big
Yeah.
step. That's a lot of power, a lot of pull.
Yeah, so right,
So
native of from Camilton. So
yeah, that's who
that's.
that's who hires and controls the coach.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Manager. So that'll be awesome to see one of our own there to to see him. So and then I want to just kind of just remind everybody to come out to those games, to support our high school as well as our junior college games. So just want to remind everybody to do that. And then I want to give you a rundown, Byron, real quick, of the NFL postseason schedule. That's this week. We have some divisional playoffs teams that will be playing this week on Saturday. Cincinnati is at Tennessee. That game is at 3:30 p.m. on CBS. And then we'll have the NFC divisional playoff. That's San Francisco at Green Bay. That's at 7:15 p.m. on Fox on Saturday. And then on Sunday, the NFC divisional playoff will start with LA at Tampa. And that game is at 2 p.m. on NBC. And then at 5:30, you will have the AFC divisional playoffs with Buffalo at Kansas City. And that's at 5:30. So we got 4 games this weekend, 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. And this all leads to the Super Bowl.
The Super
50.
Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl 50. So that's all I have for sports. We have for entertainment.
So for entertainment, I got some sad news. Stand-up comic and actor Louis Anderson, Emmy-winning basket star, dies at 68. Now, Louis Anderson, I know Louis from a bunch of different periods of my lifetime, but the first time I remember seeing him was in Coming to America. He was the guy when Eddie Murphy was working in McDowell's, and he was telling him about, next I'm going to the fries. That's the big stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Okay.
And he's had cartoons. He's done a lot of big movies and plays. But he passed away due to complications of cancer. So he lived and often performed in Vegas. You know how most greats do. Was hospitalized earlier this month. with diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, an aggressive form of the disease and the most common kind of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Um, he has that distinct look. I liked him too because he's got that gap tooth grin smile. So me and him are kindred spirits there,
Yeah.
and yeah, he's got a few Emmys and he's got a long, illustrious career. Just sad to see him go so early. And also he's got a little family history as well. His mother was raised in Minnesota, and she was actually a Mayflower descendant. So that was pretty cool that he kind of put out to let people know. But yeah, died at 68. And another big blow to the comedic community. So
Yeah.
rest in peace to Louis Anderson.
Okay.
And my next story got something a little crazy. Man found dead and 100 plus snakes found in rural Maryland in his home. So man's body found as his next door neighbor realized he didn't talk to him for most of the day. And he actually called authorities to try to see, what was going on. There was but once authorities arrived, they found there was no signs of foul play. An investigation into how he died is still underway, but inside the house, they found more than 100 venomous and non-venomous snakes on different varieties discovered in tanks situated on racks. This was reported to the office of the chief medical examiner in Baltimore for an autopsy. Among the species of snakes kept in the home were cobras, black mambas, pythons, and rattlesnakes. So yeah, but yeah,
weird.
and the thing is, venomous snakes aren't allowed to be kept as pets in the state of Maryland. So I've always wondered about people that kind of had that fascination, and it's always people that live in these small apartments, tight spaces where they have these exotic animals. It's never somebody that lives in rural areas like where I live. But it's crazy. But the fortunate thing is when they arrived at the home, it wasn't like it was snakes just crawling all over the house. They discovered them in tanks. But it's kind of a wild story to discover 100 plus snakes, in a house
in
like
one
that.
room. Yeah, that's in one house. You're right. That's dangerous, I would think. But okay.
Yeah. So that's it for me for entertainment.
Okay. All right, we'll move to our relationship tea segment. As I mentioned in our opening, we're going to take this segment and do a Did You Know? And today we're going to talk about the protocol surrounding COVID-19 as it relates to students in school. So parents, just want to make sure that you are aware of how this all works. I know we are in year 2 of this, but it still seems to be some questions, some unanswered questions, and just some kind of confusion about how it all works as far as the kid being absent, how it's coded, who notifies who. So Byron, what I found out is that once a kid tests positive, the health department notifies the school. And what I found out, they are behind. So it may be a week before they notify the school. The school receives a report of all the names of kids that have tested positive and all the kids that have been exposed. So I know, the new law is that if the kid has been exposed, they don't have to quarantine. They don't. But if the kid tests positive, you do have to quarantine.
But who notifies the health department when a child tests positive?
Well, it depends on where they test it. If you get tested at the health department, then of course, they know. If you get tested at a hospital, there's a database. And there's a statewide database, and that the information is uploaded, and the health department checks it and has access to it. Okay, and so that's how they get the information. Yes. So once that happens, go ahead.
No, that's what I was saying. I was wondering. So, for instance, people locally here, if they're not, they have a family physician or practice or something locally, that I'm pretty sure they'll input that in the system.
Yeah. It's
But also if you
electronic.
go to CVS or any of the local clinics, same
That's
thing, right?
yeah, yeah. If
Okay.
wherever you test it, there's a database and all the
But that
labs are uploaded.
and that information takes it takes more than 5. What they're behind, and that information kind of moves slow to get to the health
Well, I'm
department.
telling you that the health department is behind in reporting. Once they get the
Yeah.
electronic report, you know, they are behind, and
Yeah.
it is said that they have, so many cases, a day that they're working with, so it's understandable. So we just have to be patient. But I brought that up because when you, as a parent, when you are looking at your child's abscesses and they're out, it's going to show up as unexcused. You're going to see a
Mm.
U. So you're going to see you the entire time that they're out until one or two things happens. When the child returns and you send a note, then it'll change to excuse, but it's the parental excuse. So it's like coded like L. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when your kid is out, it's coded as parental excuse 1, parental excuse 2. So it's like L1, L1, L2, L2. It depends on how many you use. So the question I have is, I don't know if there's a certain amount that you can use because it's coded as L, L1, L2, L3, L4. So that means the parent has sent an excuse that many times for that kid to be out. I'm talking about Jackson County focus system, guys. So so once the kid is returned to school, and if you send a note, it's going to change to say one of those, L, L1, depends on how many times you've used it in the past, until the system, until the school system has received the report from the health department, then it changes to Q, and that means quarantine. So that means you don't use any of your parental excuses. So you didn't know that, did you?
No. So that means parents that gets caught up in everyday nuances of life and moving, and don't happen to
Pay
keep up
attention.
with the fact that your child is back in school and you didn't get to that information to the school, then that'll just sit as a normal
Yeah.
you or whatever, and it may come to bite them in the foot, just in
Right.
case you might want to take some vacation time or something. I don't know. And now you get a report card and you're wondering
Is
why is
that
that on
excused
there.
absence? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because the
So
thing is, the rule of thumb for a normal absence, if your kid is out, you send a doctor's note or you send a parent note saying, please excuse my kid for being out. That's how it works. And it's coded as parental excuse, 1 or whatever number you're on. But this, when you're out as a quarantine, it should not be counted as parental excuse. It should be counted as Q, which is quarantine. So it doesn't use your parental excuses. So just keep an eye on that. If you know somebody whose kid has been out, because we're all told, as parents, the health department notifies the school. Well, they do, but they may be behind. So you may want to go ahead and send the note, and then once they catch up, that will change.
yeah,
So
I
at least
tell you,
you'll
I'll be perfectly honest with you, Ron. It look almost identical, real close to leave and at time and leave statements, so parents just lock that in your brain, housing group, and whatever wires that's hooked in your brain to think about leave and take a time off, just apply it with your kids, with your
yeah.
children when you get them out for school, because you're gonna have to keep up with that.
And two, it plays a role in, if the teacher, which most parents will email the teachers directly, but the teachers don't control what's going into the system. They don't put in, that's done from the front office, as far as your absences. So you have to keep an eye on that and make sure, that your kids are being excused and they're able to make up the work. That's the other piece of this. You got to make sure they are making up the work. I mean, parents, all I'm saying is just stay on top of it, because there's a lot of how should I say this, mishaps that's going on when kids are out, they're being quarantined. Teachers are so bombarded, they're putting in zeros even though the kid was out that day. You're like, why'd you put in a zero?
Yeah,
Thanks for reminding me, stuff like that. You just have to stay on top of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we had that same. We had a lot of, when mine was out, we had a lot of. I mean, it's a lot, to keep up with, and the makeup work, and yeah, we went through the similar struggles. I mean, exact same struggle. So it's a lot, but parents, you gotta stay up. You can't come fussing and showing out after the fact. You gotta stay on top of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta stay on top of it. And here's the thing that, I don't know, what people feel about this, but I know there's such thing as privacy, but it seemed like to me when kids have to quarantine, once they feel better and they have to stay out the rest of the time, why not have the kid access to the classroom, whether it's via Zoom or FaceTime or something, so they can keep up, because that way they're not so far behind once they return to school, because the teachers can't set aside time to catch up, 3 or 4 students that were out. So it looks like to me they will have, look, this is your first period. Here's the link to this first period class so you can keep up. Here's a link to the second period class. You would, I mean,
even
I
if
don't know if
it,
it's
even if
hard.
it's just, to so they can see that lecture period.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So they can see the lecture on the teacher, not on the students, but on the teacher, so they can understand, because you get the work, and the work is uploaded in Canvas, or you can get it a hard copy, either one, but you still need instructional teaching. I mean, you can't just give a kid work and think they know how to do it when they have not had instructional teaching.
And I mean, it's too, because teacher does the same lecture, I don't know, probably 5-6 times a day. So they just record one, let them sit in any questions they have. They can get with them at whether a teaching period, or that break period, or after hours, something along those lines could definitely be done.
I mean, we're in year 2, Byron. So you think someone have kind of mastered this by now?
You would think.
You would think, yeah.
Yeah, you would think that.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to share that information again, guys. Just stay on top of it. Understand the process. There is lag time between reporting from the health department to the school. Don't just leave it on the health department. Be proactive. Let your teachers know that kids are out. Get the work. Pay attention to the coding, and just stay on top of it. That's all I can say. All right, that's it. All right, I want to say thank you for watching. I want to make sure you know that we really appreciate you for watching the show. We want to say thank you for your support. We are, basically covering everything we can throughout and around Jackson County. So there's something that you think that we should be covering, feel free to email us at bottomlinewithRoniandByron@gmail.com, or you may contact Byron or myself personally and just shoot us, a text or email, and just let us know what you're thinking. But again, we appreciate your continued support. And this is going to wrap it up for this week's segment of Bottom Line with Roni and Byron. We will see you next week. And remember, when you know the truth, you can speak the truth. And the light shines brighter when it shines for two. See you next week.